You might want to bring a shield and armor when this uninvited guest shows up to your family reunion. Published to YouTube by Ghosted UK in November of 2019, a group of people appears to be watching something going on off screen when all of a sudden a poltergeist pops up beside them. Something up on a shelf is sent crashing to the ground. Startled, the group all turns to look and most start laughing.
Your knees, Andrew, for some reason.
It's unclear what the disturbance was and what object was flung, but it seems to have been thrown with some aggression. Would you be laughing if this happened to you? Have you ever gotten physically ill from watching paranormal footage? Redditor Minimum Session 4039 has, and this is the piece that made them sick.
Been doing this all morning and I don't have time for this today. Stop. Hey buddy, I got too much going on. You gotta cut it out. Oh, okay.
After setting the camera down, the activity only gets creepier.
I understand. You gotta go, or you guys are serious, or something. Wherever you need to go, you gotta go. Calm down.
You can see a distinct shadow figure standing halfway down the stairs. This is clearly the culprit who's opening and shutting the door.
He's okay. Please, it's not today. Just, holy cow.
There is definitely a ghost that likes mischief. I don't think this is at the level of burn the house down yet, but I would be keeping an eye on this playful phantom. You'll need to say your prayers if you're planning to spend a night in this creepy monastery. YouTuber Franco TV braves an overnighter at the haunted place known as the Devil's Monastery, and he immediately starts feeling unsettled.
Alright, I made it back out here, and it is horrifying, and starts kind of like pushing me in towards the church, where I feel like I'm protected slightly until I start having other weird encounters inside.
This time isn't any different for Franco. Once inside, he hears something.
Look what they did. They completely took down the cross and leaned it up against the wall. Hey. I think it was upstairs.
So he heads upstairs, but then starts hearing things downstairs.
I have my stuff right there.
Franco heads back down to the room to investigate.
It legit sounds like moving. Coming from the inside of here.
At first, he doesn't hear anything more significant, but then, as he continues forward, this is heard.
Yes.
Something moved back there.
Did you hear it?
Yes.
Something did legit move, and as he continues to search the haunted place, he hears yet another spooky voice.
Check over here.
This place is paranormal gold, and in my opinion, Franco's got some guts to visit this demonic place solo. I'd either need a posse to join me, or I'd have to steer clear of this pure evil. The last thing you'd want for your Burger King chicken nuggets is a ghost playing with them, but we don't always get what we want. YouTuber Karaoke Batman shares this security footage of a supposed phantom playing around in this Burger King kitchen. Watch behind the worker.
I'm tied her up. There we go. Oh my god. Like,
something threw a basket of chicken nuggets from the counter behind him. Watch again closely.
Oh my god. Like,
Since we can't see where the basket of nuggets fell from, I don't know if it simply toppled over or if some mysterious being threw it. I think we'd need further evidence of ghostly activity to draw any sort of conclusion on this one. There's a reason no one parks here. Published by Haunted Forest Monsters in May of 2019, this creepy clip caught a mysterious figure on a parking lot security camera. Captured around 9 p.m., the dark parking lot shines as though it's recently rained. After a moment, a semi-transparent figure is seen traveling from the left side of the lot to the right.
Yo, what the
It doesn't stop as it meets a median filled with trees and bushes, but appears again in the next parking lot over. Is this a meter-maid phantom, or did this once living being lose track of his car for so long he lost his life in the process of trying to find it?
I know I see it.
Every child has an imaginary friend, but this one is not so imaginary. Posted to TikTok by elkakoy.tv, a father enters his daughter's room around 7 p.m. as she laughs uncontrollably with someone. As the father rounds the corner, he says his daughter's name. Then he spots this figure peering out from behind her. He rushes over to find no one there, and his daughter looks as though she's in a trance that he can't shake her out of. What is going on here? While many in the comments admit this is too creepy, commenter xgamermamax sums up my feelings. She writes, "Well, I won't be sleeping today."
Hey, me. Hey, me.
What would you do if your security camera caught someone or something poking its head inside your home? Posted by I Like Chia Seeds to the Ghosts subreddit. The Redditor states that their neighbor lives alone and that sensor light kept flicking on and off during the night, but as it would turn off, the sensors weren't just glitching out, they were sensing someone who wasn't supposed to be there. The footage shows someone peering into the home wearing a mask of some sort. Redditor Lame suggests it looks like a dude wearing a mask, a hoodie, and a baseball cap. Julian of Norwich X responds that perhaps the stranger's cap-mask combo forced him to look up to see if he'd encountered the homeowner. When he realized it was just a motion light, he backed slowly out of the home. Others say if it was a nervous man looking to take something. His reaction was much too calm in response to a light turning on in the home he was about to take from. Do you agree? If that's not the case, then what is it? This scary home CCTV video shows why you should never leave your cooking unattended. In less than a minute, their entire countertop is covered in flames. The wife makes the mistake of trying to grab the flaming pot barehanded to put it in the oven and only sends a cascade of flames to the floor. But it's the husband who makes the ultimate mistake. He throws water on the flames, which is not what you do in a grease fire, because this only makes the grease splash and spread the flames around. Everyone is okay and the fire goes out, but this method could have seriously burnt the house down. From what I've read, he could have put something large over the fire. Smothering it deprives the flames of oxygen and makes them go out. That fire was already really big though, so I don't know what he could have covered it with. To me, this video is a good example of why you should always have a fire extinguisher somewhere in your house, and make sure you have it inspected from time to time to make sure it works. When something terrifying like this happens and you need it most. Well, this man was checking his home CCTV at night. He captured something he didn't expect. Published by Scary Desk in November of 2021, the scary video shows the man setting up his camera and checking that it's angled well in his yard. But as he's doing so, look behind him. A creepy face peeks out from behind a bush in the background. It remains in view even as a car passes by behind it.
It was really horrifying.
The face then slowly disappears back behind the bush. A closer look shows the creature's bizarre features. While it looked human from far away, it doesn't exactly look that way close up. Is this being wearing a mask? And why is it hiding? Whatever is going on here, it seems this man set up his security cameras just in time. A YouTuber named Chris Javier is making a random vlog around his neighborhood late at night when he gets the weird feeling that he's not alone. Moments later, the streetlight he's standing by goes off and on by itself, which he says it has never done before. He thinks it might just be his imagination, so he decides to further test the situation by directly communicating with whatever is controlling the light, which seems to respond more than once. Here's the first time.
What the heck is going on?
And then the streetlight seems to taunt him even as he walks away. Was this a coincidence? Or is there no possible way?
Now it's not even turning off. As soon as I just said something about it, it turns off.
A short while later, Chris sees a disheveled figure walk out from the back alley where he was just standing. They seem totally out of it and speak aggressively to an imaginary person in front of them. At this point, Chris decides to get out of there because it's early in the morning and no one else is around. But to his surprise, the stranger soon follows. The person then abruptly returns to the back alley from where they came and begins to shudder under the same streetlight that was acting weird earlier. They seem drawn to this area and they start swinging their arms wildly in a circle, totally forgetting about Chris, as he films the scene for a while longer and then gets away, between the lights seemingly responding to Chris's voice, and a man randomly appearing from an empty back alley moments later. There just seems to be too many coincidences in this video to deny the paranormal could have been at work that night. What would you do if you heard this in the forest? YouTuber Moto Owens was out biking when a series of mysterious shrieks set off alarm bells.
Hello?
The shrieks certainly don't sound human or animal, but some in the community say it sounds like a cougar, and then the snapping of sticks and twigs seems way too close for comfort. Cougar or skinwalker, I think it was a good idea to get out of there as fast as possible. This abandoned house was a favorite haunt for squatters, and now it will soon be the favorite haunt of urban explorers. Published to YouTube by Lomar Mendez in March 2021, Omar and Chelsea dig right into this seriously creepy house, littered with random garbage left behind, graffiti on the walls, and antique gems that look like they've been around for at least a century. Wandering through the house, Omar opens a door, and as he does, listen closely. You can hear a voice whisper, "Look."
Ferno, haven't really been here in about a year and a half. The very first time we came here, we actually found homeless people stuff upstairs.
A detour into the bathroom brings viewers one of the grossest things seen in this top 10, a pile of discarded hair in the sink. They enter a bedroom, which might explain all the hair, as the room once housed people. Their belongings are still scattered across the floor. Further along, they find scraps of paper with strange noises written on them. They say, "disintegrates with light," and zap the ground. As they're heading upstairs, something falls in the room behind them, pushing them to pick up the pace.
Oh, go. Just upstairs. What's that?
But now they have one problem. There's no way out. They wait around upstairs, but no one approaches, and nothing more is heard. Using an electromagnetic field detector, they sense energy in the home. Though the electricity isn't on, it's a steady current.
Look at that. So there's a spirit in here? Was this your host? Yo, it's steady. Like, for real.
The necrophonic device they use in the basement seems to confirm that energy. When they ask who's in the house with them, a voice says hi, and later, "Sir, hi."
Who is in here with us?
Good call, you're hiding.
Are you hiding?
They continue to communicate with the spirits, and an orb appears in the top right corner of the door. Did a spirit just enter?
Was this your home?
They ask the spirits to make a noise for them. It almost sounds like it says ghost.
Can you make a noise for us?
They both start to feel ill and uneasy. As they're getting ready to leave, Omar says he felt like the entire house shook.
I almost thought it almost felt like the house shook. Like the entire house, right there, just shook.
I think you could have done that. That's like demonic.
Not long after, while they're speaking to each other, an orb appears to drift from Chelsea's head.
I don't know, but it's like really eerie quiet now and like...
Yeah, it's really quiet.
Have the spirits attached to their new hosts? If that's the case, that would truly Mamma Mia. Published in May of 2019, Erwin Saunders captures these bite-sized creatures on camera in the mossy woods of the UK. Is this a new fairy species? The little critter is seen carefully making its way through the woods. Nearly blending in with his surroundings, but this isn't the scariest part. When Erwin enters this narrow cave, he gets a bit of a surprise. Something is slithering in the darkness. It doesn't quite look like a snake, but it's making its way toward Erwin, who quickly backs out of the cave in shock.
Right. There's something there. Okay,
Erwin says it's a worm of European mythology, which is described as a huge limbless, wingless dragon or sea serpent. Did this nature guide just encounter two mythological creatures in the forest? These magical surroundings sure seem like the right habitat for them. A race car driver finds himself in one of the worst predicaments possible when the steering wheel breaks off in his hands. Shortly after kicking it into high gear by itself, judging by his right leg, it doesn't look like he hit the gas at all. The only thing left to do to keep from flying into the wall is pull the emergency brake, which he grabs immediately after fumbling a moment more with the now non-existent controls. The faraway look in his eyes at the end of it all says everything. He knows exactly how much danger he was in, and that he's lucky to still be alive. Pakistani ghost hunter Woa Kaya Hoga bravely goes exploring a jinn's den to confront a paranormal presence that's been haunting his town for too long.
दरवाजा खटका अंदर से किधर वो क्या
They can't get in this way, but there is another entrance heavily guarded by this nefarious jinn.
अंदर आए ना जरा देखें हसन भाई इधर कैमरे की लाइट लाए वो देख
ओए इसको क्या हुआ है?
ओए
It could be a real encounter, or they could be throwing rocks. The explorers investigate a different part of the wall where someone, maybe them, threw an object hard enough to take a piece out, and that's when...
वो दे हसन भाई कैमरा इधर करो
Noises surround them, and this door is moving on its own out of their reach. Something is next to them.
यार मेन गेट से आवाज आई मुझे आ गया
One of them grabs their leg while white eyes watch from the windows. And when it comes to abandoned haunted houses, where there are glowing eyes, there's almost always a ghost.
क्या हो रहा है? वो अल्लाह अकबर वो देखो कोई चीज गई वो देखो फिर गई.
A mysterious figure flutters past the window, and in its place is only a single glowing eye, the eye of a djinn. A water demon is lurking near a river, and we don't know what its intentions are. YouTuber Ghost23 shares this mysterious video. The figure looks oddly sinister, standing only in shadow. It appears to me to be the size and shape of a child, which makes it all the more creepy. After a moment, it moves away and out of sight. Another sighting in the area is captured from the foot of the falls. Watch for the pale figure rising out of the foliage. Here it is again. I'm not sure where this video was captured or what these figures might be, but they give off an inhuman vibe to me. What do you think is going on here? The YouTube team Ouija Brothers had to end their investigation after this paranormal encounter. They arrive at the abandoned place to find it destroyed.
Oh man, nah, look at it.
Look at that.
Look at the windows all on the top.
Oh no.
They've smashed all the windows on the top.
I smashed some bottom windows, look.
I opened up all the doors, which is handy for us.
Once inside, they attempt to communicate with the spirits, and in doing so, they hear a voice.
And that can be no.
You found you said something, didn't you?
Here it is again.
And that can be no.
You found you said something, didn't you?
And they keep hearing voices, although these aren't being picked up by their audio.
Hello?
There. I can hear. Hold on. Can you hear the voices?
Upstairs, he has a strange encounter that freaks him out.
Could you do something else but closer and inside this room, please?
Here it is again from another angle.
Could you do something else but closer and inside this room, please? Oh man.
What do you think buzzed past him? Was it just a bug, as some in the comments suspect, or something of the paranormal variety? Considering the voices they heard earlier, I think he was actually feeling the buzz of paranormal energy. A group of ghost hunters are exploring a notoriously haunted retirement home in Ohio at 1 a.m. when they manage to find something strange and unsettling.
Under the bathroom. Here it is again at half speed.
One of the ghost hunters barely manages to catch this fleeting shadow while turning around. The room to the right is completely empty and nobody is inside, plus everybody else is in a different section of the house. It doesn't look like the camera is simply adjusting to different lighting conditions, so there really is absolutely no reason for a shadow to be on the right side of the screen like that. To me, it looks like something is possibly making a quick escape. A paranormal channel called Gene Ghost Bangladesh goes exploring one of the most haunted abandoned places in his country, an old house in the woods where scary things happen to anyone who dares enter. Scary things like disembodied voices speaking from within. And strange noises coming from where no one is standing. And living vines move across walls. Watch this part and tell me if you think he was passing out from fear or a spiritual encounter. He recovers and they think they see a shadow figure looking around the corner. In front of the house is an all-seeing eye next to a doorway that spontaneously ignites in flames. Across from the flaming archway is this hand-painted altar with 5 candles on each side of a star, and outside could be the red handprint of a recent sacrifice. The drawing of an evil-looking goat-headed creature on 2 legs gives me a sinking feeling, and I really don't like how a large white orb floats into it at 33 minutes and 20 seconds. The flames burn taller when they see this figure on the wall, as if the 2 events are somehow connected. They return to the altar and find creepy dolls have been pierced with steel wire through the head, and that's when... There's a scream and the creepy dolls begin moving on their own, while everyone is standing out of the room. They don't zoom in all the way, so maybe it's on a string, or at least I hope so, because if not, then that is some really scary stuff. A YouTuber named IN7 and a large group of friends decide to investigate an abandoned home for some possible paranormal activity. They didn't find anything that strange on the first floor, aside from some mattresses, so they decide to go up a flight of rickety steps that looks far from safe. Some laughter stops them in their tracks. They start to run, but then find confidence in numbers and decide to keep going anyway. When they get to the top floor, they find more mattresses. One of the mattresses has a human-looking figure on it with black sheets pulled above the head. Suddenly, some other kids rejoin the group to warn them of more people. They hear laughter again and bolt down the steps, out of the house. The laughter sounds distant yet somehow all around them. If it's not editing, then it's definitely paranormal. The group will never know if the person laying on the mattress was just sleeping or not alive. They could have stumbled upon some ritual sacrifice for all we know. This footage comes from India, where a woman is seen cleaning up at a sink. Suddenly, a dark figure appears behind her and gives her a hard shove from behind. She turns around only to find the room empty and hurries away. While exploring Penha Palace in Sintra, Portugal, a tourist was frightened by a mysterious creature. YouTuber YB Normal shares this scary video taken during this tourist's exploration of the grounds. What is this thing? To me, it almost looks like a gorilla, but what would a gorilla be doing outside of a zoo in Portugal? Several in the comments believe it's a panther or a jaguar, but as far as I know, neither are native to Portugal. Unless there are big cats on the loose in this public park, I think it's possible that it's some unknown creature. Does this man have an unwanted paranormal roommate? Published in January of 2021, this individual woke up to doors slamming and got up to check it out. The man says this is a frequent occurrence.
My door just slammed again. There's no windows open in the house at all.
As he looks around the house, his roommate, Brad, asks if he's the one slamming the door.
That you? No.
He answers in the negative and continues his search, revealing that only he and Brad are home. After a moment, the table in the middle of the living room floor jerks toward him on its own.
Alright. You up? It wasn't me, man. I didn't even touch it.
He watches the table for a bit, while Brad seems completely unconcerned and out of it. The cameraman shows that there are no cords around or attached to the table that he could have tripped over. The only cords are to the Nintendo remote controls, but they are in front of the table. So how did this table move so aggressively? There must be spirits abound in this haunted home.
Oh my, look at him.
This is a really humorous and random situation, but let's face it, if a wild seabird were to land on you, I don't think many of us would be able to take it with a smile like this brave cameraman does. He makes no sudden movements, not wanting to attract the bird's hungry gaze or its beak to his fingers. Believe it or not, I looked up pelican-human encounters and found out that the sides of its beak are razor sharp, so this situation could have actually gone wrong quick. I don't know whether this pelican wanted to take some of his fingers or take a rest, but it seems to realize it's outnumbered and takes off. A man is filming this old medieval building on the Mediterranean island of Sardinia when he notices the curtains of a balcony window are peeled back slightly to reveal a small grayish object peeking out from the bottom. Zoom in, and it almost looks like a tiny face, or else the top of someone's head who is very short, perhaps a small child. It could be a reflection of the palm tree swaying in the wind, or it could be a trapped spirit staring haplessly at the world to which it no longer belongs. This CCTV video was taken after hours at a business in Ogden, Utah. All is quiet until a full-speed plate dives out of a cabinet and shatters all over the break room floor. A security guard on patrol walks over and simply stares at the broken plate for over 10 full seconds before grabbing another to verify what just happened. Neither one can think of a proper explanation. They check the shelf and it looks fine. Let me know if you have any explanation for this video besides the paranormal. Unless the whole video is fake and someone off camera pulled a string, then I have no idea how that plate could have fallen. What is this creepy figure skulking in the darkness? The group encountered the creature at night hiding behind a pile of logs.
Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. Come on.
The figure appears like a woman, but not quite human. Take a closer look. Is this an extraterrestrial? A ghost, perhaps? Your guess is as good as mine. This video was streamed live from Telemark, Norway. A YouTuber named Odins2 sees a gigantic disturbance in the water, so he pulls over and starts recording. This is what he sees. It starts out as a long and skinny, shimmering mass, but after a while it really starts to take form, especially in the center, possibly as the monster rises very close to the surface. Since there are no boats nearby and the water is mostly calm, many people suspect that this is a famous legendary sea serpent named Seabird, which is Norwegian for Selma. It's kind of like Norway's version of the Loch Ness Monster. I guess it could just be fishing nets, or a long string of garbage instead, but it's hard to tell for certain. Maybe someone out there with fishing experience can let me know if it looks like any of those things. This is what happens when your doll comes to life. Posted on the Ghosts subreddit by Redditor, Enigma's Light 209, who writes, Years ago, my sister had a Dora doll. However, we never put batteries in it because at the time we couldn't afford a lot of stuff. My sister was singing and playing with the doll. Not noticing the doll turns its head to look at her. The clip is creepy enough to give you nightmares. The user's sister is in the bathroom, singing and playing at the sink. Her doll is perched beside her, motionless and staring off to the right. About 15 seconds in, the doll's head suddenly turns, looking directly at the camera and into our souls. Nothing more happens in the video, but the way the doll's head snaps around is reminiscent of a bad Child's Play-like scenario. My advice, destroy that doll immediately. Fire would probably be the best. I Thought All Dogs Go to Heaven, published by Awkwardly Quiet Gamers in April of 2018. This security footage shows a dark but busy sidewalk at around 2 in the morning. A woman is seen standing to the left. A dog or cat comes into view on the right, as does another lady. They both pass by in the night. That's when the ghost dog comes into frame. Unlike the last animal's starker image, this one is slightly blurred and transparent. It runs along the sidewalk and then disappears out of sight. Meanwhile, the lady is making strange moves along the sidewalk. What is going on here? Is this ghost dog playing one last game of fetch with its owner? I hope that's the case. Ghost Hunter Emax has some of the creepiest videos in the small but growing Japanese ghost hunter community. Videos with scary moments like this one that will haunt you for a long time. He's exploring an abandoned hospital when he senses something paranormal is near. A ghost in the same hallway.
なんかいる感じしてるもんね。あね、したりしたんだけど。さあ行ってみたい。あっこれでこっちに動いたんだよな。
It's just there 1 second at 10 minutes 16 seconds, and within 2 seconds it's being pushed back 3 feet into the closet. Did he really see a wheelchair move by itself while exploring a haunted hospital, or did someone pull it from off camera? The video looks convincing, but I guess we'll never know. A man from an unknown country is checking an old apartment when he is confronted by the spirit of its former inhabitants. First, something whispers behind him in another language, possibly Arabic, followed by movement. Then they slam the door he just walked through and raise the lock in midair, something that a person would not be able to do just from banging really hard on the other side. Orbs are going crazy, although it is pretty dusty in here. Anyway, pay attention to this side of the room. No one is here, yet in moments a paw flies from this direction, and when he turns around you can see the room is completely empty. Phantom figures crouch low behind doorways and promptly disappear, and when he hears these running footsteps overhead, he knows it's time to leave fast. They sound heavy and are heading straight his way. This noise anomaly is freaky. YouTuber SS3 Paranormal captures a strange sound, followed by a dark flash in the corner of the room. Look and listen. Let's isolate the two. Here's the noise. It almost sounds extraterrestrial to me. And here's the flash. Watch the top right corner. Well, that could be explained by the camera's light adjustment. I'm not sure what the sound is. Maybe an extraterrestrial's belly growling? If that's the case, feed him. Something went down in this condominium lobby, and the ghosts have remained here ever since. Redditor Mr. Top Stallion shares this security footage of the mysterious happenings at a luxury condominium in Florida. The Redditor says they've seen translucent figures in all 3 buildings of this condominium. But Redditors in the comments think this can be explained with some saying it's a temperature differential, others a glass flaw shatter, and still others a hot spot due to the light above. Regardless of these naysayers, considering the history of this place, I think it's a poltergeist's doing. Most of the passengers have on headsets and are watching a mid-flight movie, but one of them sees a reoccurring image and takes out their phone. This brief clip is the final instance of what they saw. Floating up from one of the seats is a formless mist that briefly swirls into the shape of a twisted face and disappears. All airlines are smoke-free nowadays, but I suppose that could be another possibility. Look in the mirror before you go to sleep tonight. Posted to TikTok by Ghost Vault, this creepy security footage shows a man snuggling up beneath his blankets in bed, ready to get a good night's rest, or so he thought. As he lays calmly down to sleep, a figure's face appears in a mirror on the wall above him. The woman has a white face and long dark hair. She appears to watch the sleeping man for a moment, her reflection moving around a bit in the mirror. After a time, she slinks off. But does she ever really leave? I'd be getting the heck out of that place ASAP. If you heard this sound in the middle of nowhere, what would you do? Instagram account Cryptid University posts this video taken at a borrowed cabin in the middle of the forest. Listen closely.
Look, there this time.
I don't know about you, but I got absolute chills from this audio. Listen again.
What in the bloody fuck? There all the time. Why don't you
Is this a skinwalker? I think it might be, and if so, it's actually closer than we think. Beware of the shadows when at Donovan Mill. The historic mining site in Silver City, Nevada, has a reputation, and it's not a good one. At least one documented incident of someone taking their own life has been recorded there. Perhaps it's the spirit from this unfortunate history that lingers in the mill. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, Facts by James TV writes, at 24 minutes 30 seconds you could see a shadow-like figure down the hallway. At the very same space it is known to be haunted by a spirit named John that is very protective about that area. At the timestamp in question, you can see what James is talking about. He said he felt a presence, so they stopped and shined the flashlight down at the end of the hall. A small shadow figure appears there. Casting light down that way doesn't make it disappear. What do you think about this creepy catch? Would you have the guts to venture down the hall to investigate? This clip shows a normal psychedelic filter, the electric color surrounding the girl in frame. She then turns her camera to span the room. The filter follows for a moment before becoming absent from the shot, as the room is empty. Or is it? The person detecting filter appears to detect someone in the chair sitting opposite. No one is there, and yet the silhouette of a human form starts to appear in the shot in shocking black and white. It seems to be seated in the chair. The girl turns the filter back to her face, and the shocking figure follows, blending into the psychedelic filter colors around her again. Redditor Hydra Wrench 97 is both tentative in jumping to the paranormal and rightly creeped out. She writes, usually these Snapchat filter ghost clips are glitching and basically the camera falling for pareidolia, but this one is weird. Might just be the spookiest glitch ever, but it is very weird and would scare me if that was my living room. Maybe it sees something we don't. Nursing homes are rife with elderly spirits that just cannot move on. This surveillance footage may have caught one of them. Posted to YouTube by Rice RV4 in September of 2012, this clip is surveillance footage of the Niles Nursing Center, as indicated by the sign in the hallway. The clip shows the elevator door drawing open with no one exiting. Then off to the right, what appears to be a cane slides across the floor in the hallway. It also moves to one side apparently on its own, before several people are seen passing through the hallway. and someone finally picks the cane up and places it out of harm's way, leaning it against the wall. The cane then disappears altogether without anyone making an appearance. YouTube commenters suggest that the ghost may have been trying to trip people with the placement of the cane. One commenter in particular, Siege Crows, suggests that they have some inside info on the case. He writes, "Super surprised that this got out after how hard the nurses and the people are trying to keep it a secret." In response to this, YouTuber Silent Night Crew states that he was an off-duty cop working security the night that this happened, and the man who leaked it was fired. Whether or not this is true, I think it's safe to say you wouldn't want to be working security when something like this happens. YouTube team Greg and Heather's Explorations returns to the Townsend Cemetery, where they once held hands with a spirit. Will he hold their hand again? They begin with an EVP session.
A sneak peek of her EVP session.
Hi, Patty. Oh my God. You remember me from last time?
As they're examining the grave of a Confederate soldier, they hear a distant sound.
He was like a Confederate soldier. Something. He was a high up in the ranks.
What is that noise? You hear that?
Oh yeah.
They then discover what that sound is.
What's that? The water's on.
Wait. Whoa. That was not just some...
No. Oh my...
You've been saying that you felt like somebody was over here messing with you.
Is someone pranking them? And is the prankster living or a spirit? When they turn their ghost tube app on, they see figures all over the place.
Hello? Oh, wow, look, right there.
Right in front of you.
Wow. Hi. We see you. Was that you that just set this meter off?
And later, they try to convince the spirit to hold hands again, this time with Patty.
Where did you go? Oh, there you are. Can you do that again? Yep, he's right next to you, to the left of you, yeah. Can you reach out and touch her hand like you...
But the spirit is reluctant. Heather believes the spirit is a child since it's down low. I tend to agree. That might also suggest its hesitancy to reach out, and it might explain the trickery with the faucet being turned on. This child ghost is playing games. Real Victoria is woken up by her cat hissing at something it sees in the bedroom window. The cat goes quiet when she starts recording, but it's definitely focused on some activity outside. She says this creepy looking character was looking in through her window, and he very well may have been, but at 4 seconds he also seems to be looking up and trying to get the attention of someone in the room above him. In fact, I think I hear him shout something and whistle loudly at the beginning of this video. What is he saying here? Eventually, he steps away and out of sight. I guess he either saw the camera, or he finally got the attention of someone in the unit above. Whatever he was up to, having a complete stranger anywhere near where you live at 5 in the morning is oddly terrifying. With that said, I do believe her, and I hope Real Victoria stays safe until her lease is up and she can get out of there. A haunted coffee shop? Never heard of such a thing, but that's what YouTube team The Haunted Side are investigating in Virginia City, Nevada. Their investigation opens with a subtle sound.
Heard that. That was in here.
The spirits then respond to the team's requests via their paranormal devices.
Can you touch that little box right there on the bar? Oh. Ooh.
Haunted.
Just like that. Look. Look.
It's best. Right.
What the is that?
The unexplained noises continue.
No. Oh. Something made a noise right before I did that.
And in the kitchen, they hear a whisper or a breath.
Sounded like a voice.
The voice is heard again, louder this time, but it's unclear what it's saying.
Is that you?
As they're looking on a thermal camera, more unexplained noises resound.
And now it's like over by the door and gone. Whoa. What? And a voice, that's the first voice I've heard come through there.
Next, Patrick feels something touch his neck.
Gotta put the camera down for a second. Ooh. Something like, not a scratch per se, but like.
And just as he's about to speak, the spirits clink their glasses.
Where are you right? Ooh. What was that?
The noises don't end there.
What the is that?
Then a bunch of his tech acts up on its own.
I'm holding it down, the SLS closed, the full spectrum camera shut off. That was rolling. Is the IR light on? It opened back up on its own.
What is happening here? As he's trying to figure it out, another clinking sound is heard.
That is... What the
The spirits is even taking requests now.
Can you make a noise like that again, please? Whoa! Whoa!
And then denying them.
What the is that?
In my opinion, despite the ambient noise throughout the clip, there are too many mysterious sounds in this place to deny that it's haunted. But all I'm wondering is, if this spirit serves up a decent cup of boo brew. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by ImpressiveMany4743, this Redditor wrote, "We are not alone." The Redditor says they filmed this on their way home. Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about.
Was out here today and seeing these stars formed up. I don't know what the hell they are. Look, a perfect triangle.
What?
And they're slowly disappearing.
Wait.
Is that this kind of tied it up right how I think of it.
Are those two lights a part of a much larger aircraft? I don't know for sure, but I do know that if I saw this on my way home, I'd be nothing short of terrified. A YouTuber named Benny Loco is on a desert urban exploration in a bunch of abandoned houses that are empty, or so she thinks. She steps inside and looks to the right, no one, but standing on an opposite side of the room, under some drapes, is a silhouette that she thinks is some kind of animal figure because of these supposed ears.
With a bunny in the window. Creepy bunny.
But all I see is a hooded figure staring at her through a thin piece of fabric. This is one of the only times I've seen somebody laugh off a ghost sighting and not check to see what it was. All of the windows are blocked, so I guess she could be looking at a piece of cardboard or something. But since something just moved in that room and then disappeared, I have to go with paranormal activity on this one. When your dog sees something you don't, their harrowing sixth sense can send chills down your spine. That's what happened to TikToker Alpha Ocean 22, who writes, "I live alone and just found out about the previous owner." Alpha Ocean's footage begins abruptly with her dog barking into the darkness.
What? What are you barking at? Oh, God.
The dog is on high alert, his body language that of defense. He's seen growling and springing across the bed. Needless to say, the animal's reaction to whatever lies beyond terrifies its owner to no end. In a follow-up video, Alpha Ocean explains exactly what happened in the initial footage.
From Diesel essentially growling at nothing physical.
I'm definitely not in a position to say what it was in the video or what is real and what's not. Personally, I've always been real spiritual, so I know what I felt.
She says she was woken up at 1 in the morning from her dog Diesel growling at nothing physical. She explains that she's in no position to say exactly what it was that Diesel was growling at, though it was the first time the dog has acted this way. She, however, has always been spiritual and felt something in the home. She claims this wasn't the first time something unusual like this has happened to her. She calls the home her wildlife sanctuary, but says she's had some sense for a while that she's not supposed to be there. She discovered from neighbors that the owner of the home was a very closed-off man who lived alone with his mother who passed away. Alpha Ocean states she'll leave the rest up to the viewer's interpretation. So how do you interpret this? Do dogs have a sixth sense? And if so, did Ocean's pet perceive the presence of the homeowner's dearly departed? Or was this dog sensing something else? I guess we'll never know for sure. It's not often you see two trains so close on the same track, occurring near Smith Falls in Ontario, Canada in 1992. The footage shows a passenger train that needed to hit the emergency brakes while en route to Toronto. The passenger train appears to be traveling at a fairly fast speed when a stationary freight train comes into view down the track. As the commuter has little time to slow, the engineer stumbles out of the locomotive cab. In the meantime, the freighter backs up slowly while the commuter train has managed to brake hard enough to come to a complete stop right in the nick of time. The approach left no more than 6 feet between the locomotives, a close call that makes little to no sense as to why or how it happened. An urban exploration and paranormal investigation channel called SCPC Ghost makes a video about an abandoned house in Colton, California for no reason other than he thinks it looks interesting enough to record on camera. He videos the outside of the house from some different angles for a while and then decides it's time to explore the inside. The inside is well lit, and yet there is a mysterious moving shadow that may or may not be paranormal. The shadow goes away, and that's when he hears a soft, creepy noise.
Hello? Anybody here?
Nobody responds, and so he decides to fully investigate the abandoned house for evidence of the paranormal. In the kitchen, he records what could be a small pale ghost sighting in the window. In the back of the abandoned house, he finds what could be a secret room. On the other side of this brick wall, there's an opening that's too small to climb through, but small enough to drop food into, like someone was held captive.
It's crazy.
And the marks on this door shown at 2 minutes likewise look like someone tried to claw their way out. It's a small search, and he's about to leave when he realizes there's one final creepy dark room to explore for paranormal evidence. He does not get a single step inside before he finds out this abandoned house is not so abandoned after all.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
A voice in the darkness scares him, and he does not look inside to see who it belongs to. Had he checked, he might have found the room was empty, and that the woman's voice was nothing more than an EVP caught on camera. Instead, he sidesteps into the other room and, in doing so, accidentally records a mysterious moving shadow figure on the way out.
Just taking some pictures of the property. I'll be out here in a second, alright? Scared me.
I don't know if this is a paranormal ghost encounter or a woman who is going through hard times and trying to hide. All I know is that a voice doesn't have to sound scary to be terrifying, at least not when it's coming from the darkest corners of this sad little abandoned home.
Show me.
Would you ever purchase a house knowing that somebody passed away in it? Post it to TikTok by Don't Be an Ash Hole. This person wasn't bothered, that is, until she ripped up the carpet on the floorboards A body outline is found with the case number and dates written beneath one arm.
I wasn't bothered knowing someone died in my new house. But imagine my surprise when I ripped up the floor.
There's also a stain on one side of the outline. So did the person just pass away, or was his life taken? Some are debating in the comments whether this is real or not, saying that the floorboards would be replaced as a biohazard, and that they don't draw these outlines anymore, as doing so can contaminate evidence. So is this just a trick by previous homeowners, as some TikTokers are suggesting? Talk about leaving a mark on a place. Fisherman's Chronicles gets a catch while kayaking in the San Francisco Bay, but you'll never guess what he's caught on camera, or rather, what's caught him.
Oh my, that's a fish on. That's a fish on. Oh my, this is a big fish on. I got a big fish on. Oh, this is a halibut. It's for a shore keeper.
He thinks he's hooked a halibut, but it's much worse than that. A stingray. Its whipping tail is like a serrated needle that will mess you up in seconds flat. He has to get the hook out of its mouth fast while avoiding the tail.
Wow, look at, got a good view of that. This guy's trying to sting me.
Nothing new for him. He's caught hundreds of them before, but I guess everyone can make a mistake. The tail connects and a barbed wire feeling races up his arm. Now he has to get the hook out with the ray in his lap, and he's lucky it doesn't take a chunk out of his thigh here at 7 minutes and 17 seconds. They do have razor sharp teeth. He gets to a hospital as fast as he can, and this is the end result.
Well, I had to row like half a mile back to the kayak launch with a stingray tail like sticking out of my arm.
It's healed up nicely since, and he doesn't have any nerve damage to speak of, but it's not something I would ever want to go through, and I hope he never does again. He's lucky it wasn't higher up and nicked an artery. Also, I just wanted to commend him for not getting angry at the stingray for defending itself. He focuses on getting the hook out of the stingray first before getting help for himself.
I still want to release this guy as fast as possible.
I think everyone's first instinct is to throw it back into the water, so this must have taken an incredible amount of self-restraint. If you find Sally selling seashells by the seashore, don't buy them. This creepy shell was found full of strange creatures.
We found this weird looking thing stuck on a shelf on the beach, and look what it does. It like moves.
Not really doing anything now. So it's not real active here.
The camera shy.
At first glance, they look like several closed eyelids, but they are bubbling. As the girls continue to inspect it, you see several of the creatures move.
But it's cool. But it's like what is this?
Yeah, I don't know, bro.
Oh, I touched it and it moved.
On Peter.
Many in the comments say these are barnacles. I've never seen a barnacle before, but after a little research, I think that assessment is spot on. Now that I've seen them, they're a lot creepier than I'd ever imagined. This creepy video has been floating around the internet for quite some time, and I've never been able to find a source. It was taken by paranormal ghost hunters researching an abandoned house in Russia. They unknowingly pass over a mysterious figure in the corner who was caught on video but apparently not seen in real life. Maybe it's just me, but it looks like she could be wearing the very same dress that they find laying outside of the room moments later, in which case her body is probably nearby as well. Weirdest of all is this small object in front of her. It's too out of focus to tell for sure, but I think it might be a creepy doll caught on camera looking at them too. Sidestep Adventures is surprised to actually find what he's been looking for out in the Georgia woods.
You stepped on it?
Oh wow. Here it is.
Another person's grave. They carefully reassemble it and respectfully read her name out loud.
Yep, here it is. Sacred to the memory of Mrs. Jang. And died November 3rd, 1843.
Under the heavy marker, they find a crushed bouquet of flowers left by a loved one. The petals are in excellent condition and largely retain their color. Finding fresh flowers under a more than 100-year-old grave is already weird enough, but then Sidestep Adventures reads more and realizes who this Mrs. Jane is to him.
And Stacy Duckworth and Samuel were my great-great-great-grandparents. So she was actually a half-sister to my great-great-grandfather.
So let's recap. He literally stumbles across an extremely concealed grave in the middle of the woods. Fresh flowers are underneath despite the grave being from 1843. Then he discovers it's a long-lost relative and has to admit that this seems like it could be fate.
Well, we did find it somehow. I tell you, if you hadn't stepped on it, we wouldn't have.
It's almost as if the spirit of his ancestor was waiting to be found. This YouTuber is fairly sure that he's captured a ghost on his dash cam when he's traveling down a suburban road and sees reflective lights on the right. Watch the parked car on the right to see what I mean.
So you know. Yeah. With the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation dedicated to the idea that
I personally think it looks like someone could be stepping into his line of movement here. It happens quickly, so I'll play it again in slow motion. Let me know if you see it. But when he pulls up to where the lights were, he and his friends are surprised to find nothing's there.
Where did it go?
RI, Public Radio.
They walked in front of the car, right? Yeah, it was like a wheelchair or something.
Both of them swear they saw the lights and thought someone was crossing the street. I guess his headlights could have been reflecting off of the parked car, but then again, the angle doesn't exactly seem to match up. Let me know if you see it and what you think it could have been. A YouTuber named The Inception of Yara Phoenix captures a scary moment on camera while exploring India. While doing some kind of construction work, a member of this crew holds a spike in place while another swings a heavy hammer a few feet from his head. The man is leaning away as far as he can, but with no helmet and no other kind of protection, not even a barrier to keep pedestrians from walking into him. It really does seem like a matter of time before something really scary happens. Take a listen for yourself.
And he's one miss and you're...
Those are some heavy blows that there would be no recovering from if a mistake were to happen. I can only imagine how scary it would be to be working in that position, putting your life in the hands of somebody else who you probably barely know, hearing the sound of the hammer coming so close over and over again. This scary moment caught on tape is no doubt 100% real, and this is exactly what makes it so terrifying. This eerie video has me doing a double take, published by Spout You Like in April of 2008. This scary clip is filmed outside the stunning New York Minster. The bells are ringing and the cameraman is taking it all in. He scans the cathedral and then starts walking toward it. A shot later, he is continuing on his way down a narrow shop lane. While the bells continue to sound, shops line either side of the street. But watch what happens in the upper window to the left. The cameraman zooms in on the ghostly pale face of a small child looking out the window. The child's eyes are dark and inky, and its face mask-like. As the camera zooms, the child disappears. The uploader notes that the house is called the Belfry and was built in the 17th century. Some in the comments claim to have stayed there and say that it has seriously spooky vibes. Is this the thing putting out those vibes? I'd say it's a pretty good chance. This one's a lot more boo than peak. published by Fun with SK in May of 2022, and originally published by YouTuber Simply Sareth. This scary video captured something creepy playing Peekaboo around a corner. Sareth is outside this haunted home, his camera facing the front door, when his night vision footage captures this creepy creature peering around the doorway. What is this figure? It certainly looks human in size, but is it a ghost? Or is it just a living human being so super creepy? I think these are questions we'll never get the answers to. Is this unidentified flying object real or fake? YouTuber YB Normal shares this video of a daytime sighting in an unknown location. This man spotted the unidentified flying object on the tree line and got his camera out to capture it. It disappears for a while behind some trees before making a resurgence.
I mean, just look at those movements. It just doesn't look like a conventional craft to me. This is crazy.
It wobbles from one side to the other. A closer slow motion view captures this movement more precisely. A couple of things gives this away as CGI for me. The absolutely motionless Steadicam, when at the beginning the cameraman sounds out of breath from having rushed out to retrieve his camera, so he would assumingly be holding it by hand.
Okay.
And a second issue is the sound of a breeze while the trees are completely stationary.
This, I don't know what it is. I thought it was a plane at first, maybe a helicopter. I've been watching this thing hover.
Still, a good effort overall. What do you think is going on here? It's not too often that you watch a video that completely scares you silly. Published to YouTube by RZ Flame in March of 2017, the uploader of our first clip believes what you're hearing is a ghost, and what you'll soon see will prove it. The sounds are subtle at first. They don't even wake the lone man in the office, who's sleeping on a chair in the corner of the room. Neither does the phone, which rings a couple times shortly after the noises start. He appears to wake slightly, but not enough to get up and answer the phone, and soon he's dozing again. When the phone rings yet again, he finally rises to answer it, before returning to his computer and getting back to work. That's when a chair in the opposite corner of the room spins full circle on its own. This catches the worker's attention briefly, but he shrugs it off and returns to his assignment. A moment later, a water bottle falls from the edge of a desk. At this point, the office worker stands up to gauge what's going on. That's when the poltergeist really has some fun, throwing a chair onto its back in the middle of the office. This activity seems to be the last straw. The man screams and races from the room. That's some good judgment on his part. Usually when you're in solitary confinement, you're, well, solitary. This TikTok video shows that's not always the case. In the video, an inmate stands behind bars. He's looking out through the bars and is supposed to be alone, but when he steps out of the way, a dark figure appears to be crawling on the floor behind him. It moves out of the way, blocking itself from view behind the inmate. The figure looks human-shaped, but not really human. Many in the comments believe it could be the inmate's demon that landed him in prison. Others think it's the negative energy attached to him. I guess the odds of an actual person sneaking into jail are unlikely. What do you think is going on here? Did you know that man has explored more of Mars and the moon than we've explored the depths of our own oceans, which leads us to some of the strangest oddities on Earth, including this one, the Giant's Pyrosome, looking like a large transparent tube slide. A Giant's Pyrosome is comprised of thousands of identical clones of zooids that form an up to 60-foot hollow cylinder that can be wide enough for a grown man to fit inside. The free-floating tube appears like a ghostly discarded piece of see-through fabric known as sea pickles. Giant pyrosomes are bioluminescent, which means you can see them glowing blue-green in the sea at night. Published to YouTube by Ross Overstreet in June of 2018. And supplemented by footage from Luis Bringas in December of 2014, this giant pyrosome off the southern coast of San Clemente Island will send you off the deep end. These videos show the creature in action, or rather inaction as it floats unobtrusively near the seafloor. What would you do if you crossed paths with this oceanic nightmare? Would you be brave enough to swim through? And more importantly, would you make it to the other side?